It's the Grand Circle Podcast with your host, Samuel Galubak and Inessa Strelnikova. It's your intimate look into the lives of world champion dancers. And now, here's Samuel and Inessa.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Grand Circle Podcast. My name is Sam.
And my name is Inessa.
Today's sponsor of this episode is the Toronto Winter Ball. And because of that, we have a world-class judge sitting with us at our table, in our studio, in our little studio.
That is correct. World-class judge and a winner of Blackpool Festival in 1998 as amateur Latin dancer. As well, this person is a finalist, was a finalist of all major competitions in the world. And we'd like to welcome to our interview room,
Beata.
the one and only.
The one and only Beata.
Thank you.
Beata. And I like how you go just by Beata.
It's like the singer Adele, just Adele.
Yeah,
you know?
just
Beata is
Beata.
Beata.
I always wanted to ask you, Beata, I know you were born in Lithuania. Is that a popular name in Lithuania? Is that really
Actually,
common?
I think not very common. It's more Polish name, but I was named after my grandma. So because she was basically Beata, so they named me after her. So, but it's definitely not a popular Lithuanian name.
It's rare in Lithuania. Yeah, so no, just curious because, you know, my daughter's
Of
name is the
course.
same.
Of course.
It's also Beata. Yeah, and it's a beautiful name, and that's why I chose it, because I love it. And it suits you.
Thank you.
Suits you so well. Well, anyways, you know, one of the titles that Beata has is actually from former Soviet Union. You were Soviet Union 10 dance amateur champion, so
And
not
the
just
Soviet
Latin.
Union was huge.
10 dance, and it was huge. It had 15 republic, and each republic had dancers. But you know what? The Baltic republics, they were always known for being strong in ballroom dancing. Even in my time,
Why
where
is
I
that,
remember.
Beata?
Yeah, well, I don't know. They were always like keen on this stuff, and then we would go and they were always.
We just had good teachers. I mean, everybody, of course, has good teachers, but we were very lucky to have great clubs and just very good people that actually gave us the beginning. Even to this day, I mean, of course, I had many. My career is very long, but I say thank you to my original teachers that gave me the beginning in Lithuania. To this day, I say thank you to them because they gave me the start.
And
gave
they
you the
are
basic,
who,
right?
who you were original teachers in Lithuania?
Olga and Gena Gunko.
Oh, nice. Oh, wow. And then when you said you had a very good teachers, you probably had more frequent coaches visiting to Lithuania, because basically Lithuania and all other Baltic countries, they're closer to Europe. So it was probably easier for all those coaches to visit. And
You know, yes and no. Yes, we were closer, but it still was very hard. Like, we still had it very hard way. People think that the Lithuania had, we had more, better costumes because it was closer. It was still hard. Some people who could
but you
afford...
did. I remember looking at these guys, and they always had something better. And we were like, wow, what? Like, yes.
We did exactly the same as everybody else did. We used to go to, let's say, German Open, and there used to be 1,000 stones on the floor, and we all used to pick them up one by one. And
So for your next dresses?
Yes, we did exactly the same thing in those days. I mean, of course, later it changes, but when we were kids, it was
when
not
you were
easy.
kids.
It
But
was
kids
not
pick
easy.
them up anyways, because I think it's just fun and it's meditative.
It's good.
I see kids every
It's
time
good
in
for
North
the
America.
organizers, though. So
they
it's
pick
a
up
free
those-
cleanup.
Yeah, and it's a free cleanup.
Right.
So bring more, everybody bringing more kids to the competitions from now on.
Free cleaners.
Okay, and so how old were you when you started to go international into outside of Lithuania and compete?
Well, I started dancing when I was 6, and I left Lithuania when I was 15. So it was between 6 and 15, and I would say from 10 to 15 was my major career in Lithuania, and then I came to America when I was 15. So in those days, it was just youth, like junior youth. That's when we did the most, and when I came to the States, it was already amateur from there.
Oh wow! Yeah, that's quite a history. So, which countries you liked going mostly to? Can you name a few?
I mean, in Europe, all of them. I mean, Germany used to have the most competitions for us. Like, especially as amateurs, we used to live in Germany every weekend almost, and they used to be so glamorous, and it's just always on TV. There was always such a big deal up, about every competition. So I would say Germany again, like, really gave us most of our amateur career was in Germany.
As a judge, a world-class judge that travels around the world, do you now get the chance to judge at the competitions that you danced at?
Not as much, no, because even if I go to Europe, it's not as much as I used to. So it mainly my
You mean
my
there's
work
not
is
as many competitions as there used to be?
There still are, but I don't go to the same competitions that I used to dance. I don't judge those. So mostly I judge here in the States, definitely.
So I wanted to go back a little bit and ask, how did you meet with Michael Bentek?
Interesting. So basically, I met with him in USDC, which I'm sure you know this competition.
Which is USA. It's
yes.
on US soil.
It's on US soil. So when I came to this America, I mean, I was 15. So at that time, we're talking a long time ago. I'm not telling my age. There was not many my age people dancing. It was either pro-am or professionals. So there was not really a lot of young people. So I knew that the only way I could find a partner was if I did pro-am, which I did. So I actually did pro-am at USDC in 1997 or 6 or something. No, 95. And Michael saw me dance there. And his question, because nobody at those days knew what pro-am was. So he asked people around, why is this young girl dancing with this older gentleman? Like, he didn't understand the section. And they told him that she's looking for a dance partner. And then he came up to me, and that was it.
Wow. So, but with Michael, so the Beata and Michael met on U.S. soil, and then you were representing South Africa.
South Africa.
Yes, because he was from
he's
South
from
Africa.
South Africa.
That's interesting.
The reason being because when I met him, I was still not a U.S. citizen, and of course he was a South African citizen, and it just sounded so much more exotic, and we just decided to do.
It
to
sounds
represent.
interesting, just
Especially in those days.
But have you been to South Africa?
Many times. We used to compete because we had to compete once a year for sure for nationals, and we used to go there many times a year.
So how did you like it?
It's a beautiful country.
Beautiful.
Honestly, like, a lot of people think that there's dangerous. I've been there many, many times. Not once I saw anything dangerous. So
I know, like, I've heard that South Africa is such a multicultural country. Like, it has everything. Although people don't really think that, because people think Africa and that's it, But South Africa has a lot of different
yes, and it's
cultures.
beautiful. A lot of cultures. It's just a beautiful country. Definitely to visit. I would recommend to everybody.
I own a piano from South Africa. It's made of yellow wood that grows only in South Africa.
Wow, you see?
That was given to me by one of my South African students.
Wow,
as
amazing.
That's a nice present.
Nice.
And now my daughter Beata plays on that piano. Anyways, I heard in South Africa they also have good wines,
Yes, they do.
good wineries. Did you visit?
You see, when I used to dance, I never used to like to drink at all. So I never tried any wines. I only started enjoying
When you
wines
started judging.
when I stopped competing. That's when I started enjoying things like that. I never used to drink wine, so I would not know what to tell you.
What's your favorite wine now?
White wine, red wine?
White.
You're a white one.
White.
And you have preferences? Like you have
Chablis. I like Chablis.
very nice.
So we're gonna see Beata walking around Toronto Winterball with a glass of white wine.
After judging panels. Please. But for that, we have after parties at Toronto Winter Ball. And then, of
Yes.
course, we will see you upstairs in the suite. So we suddenly start talking about South Africa, well, because Michael's from there. But let's go back to Lithuania. So what do you like about your home country where you were born? And your best moments from the childhood and dancing being young?
I mean, it's been a long time since I left there, of course. So a lot of things, I don't know how it is right now. But in those days, everything felt like it was such a small community. Like even in our, in the dance clubs, everybody supported each other. And it just felt very homey. Like I never felt, of course, in our dance world, there's competition, there's a rivalry, but somehow I never used to feel that. And that's what I remember. It's just with such a closeness about it.
Do you go back to Lithuania at all?
I've only been once back.
Wow.
That's why
You don't want to go back or?
It's no, of course I do because I still have family there. Oops, sorry. But it's just, life goes on and
And life's busy, right? So.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go back into the dancing questions. I just wanted to share, one of my favorite dances by you and Michael were that samba, that popular samba to that beat. It was like a samba with the funky rap style, kinda, and the costume looked so great. It was very colorful. Am I right?
I guess I'm Superstars. You're thinking.
Yes. That show. It was very, very nice, very alive, even very different. And then,
Very South African.
South Africa, maybe. But how did you guys choose the music, and then who's the instigator of dancing it to this? It was a very different samba. When we saw it, like everybody danced traditional samba, and then boom, there's this different music, and then.
We were always. Of course, a lot of things was Michael was very. He used to usually lead the partnership, but we were just very open to try anything. Like some couples, used to have their style and they would just stick to their style, and also the same with the costumes. With us, we were open to do anything, like different styles.
You just like to try new things.
Exactly, and we try to stay current. A lot of people just like to be with very traditional music. We were like, whatever is in right now and playing on the radio, let's just it was for us, it was more interesting for ourselves, and then we thought that maybe people would enjoy it more, so we always try to stay current as much as possible.
I like that though when couples stay current, because some couples they like to do shows to old songs and they keep repeating them. But people that stick to current songs, I feel like the audience is more they can relate to it more.
When you do a show, you're doing like a lot of times couples when they do a show they're trying to only practice their competitions routines, but show is supposed to be for the audience. It's supposed to be entertaining. So yes, maybe you're not doing your competition routine, but you're a professional, so when you're doing a show, it's supposed to be a show. When you compete, you're supposed to compete with your competition routine. So that's why we try to kind of do both, So
if someone would tell you this, Beata, well, what if Michael comes to US for a while and then he says, let's practice and do the show again? Would you be, well, Karina and Slavik did, right? And then it was very successful. People loved it because they like to see the stars, reuniting. It's something special about it. So what would be your answer?
I will never say no, because especially with Michael, we never really had closing to our partnership. When we stopped, we both thought we're going to continue with different partners, and things did not happen. So I will never say no, absolutely. But I also know what it will take to feel good and to look good to get to that point. So it all depends.
You haven't danced in so long.
Exactly. We haven't danced in so long. I haven't danced myself just I haven't been on the floor in so long. So I would, like I said, I will never say no. But I think life, if it's meant to happen, it's going to happen.
And we would love for this to happen. And if it was happening, what would be your first dance, like first choice? Like what would you start practice with? Do you have favorite dance in general?
If I think back, yes, rumba would be my especially with Michael as well. We have a lot of special songs that we did, and people remember those numbers.
I kind of thought she was going to say that.
Everyone has a different answer to this. Why rumba?
Just generally, rumba was my favorite dance, and we just have a lot of memories for that dance. A lot of emotional memories. So I would say rumba would be for me. Probably if you ask him, he will say probably samba. But yeah, for me it's rumba.
Well, that's my favorite dance too, I think. And I kind of felt like you were going to say rumba, but it's probably in the air. Anyways, well, maybe one day, maybe Michael will listen to this interview and then he'll say, hey, why not? Let's do it. No, but seriously, it would be super awesome.
And I think Toronto audience would also want to see that.
And then can we reserve, if this happens, can we reserve it for Toronto audience first?
That's how
Slava and Karina did it here first.
Put it on paper right now.
Toronto, yes.
Put it on paper right now.
Okay, well, let's put it in perspective.
In the back of our heads.
And then I like when you say, you never said no,
Yeah.
so that's good. Okay, well, what's our next question, Sam?
You danced at Blackpool. And before we started this interview, you mentioned that it was a very, you never expected what happened to happen. So can you talk about that?
Absolutely. So we've been in the top 3 for a few years, and just before Blackpool we've been winning a lot of competitions, but then the major one before Blackpool we lost to an English couple. So when you come to Blackpool, it's 11 British judges. So you already know that it's a very hard competition, and we came as thinking we knew we would be in the top 3, but we're thinking we will be in 3rd place. And we did everything. We prepared from the costumes to, we were ready to the point to the makeup, what my makeup would be. And we really did everything we could, and we won. So that was, first place with 11 British judges against a British couple who won Blackpool the previous 2 years. It's a very hard thing to do. That's why it was such an, amazing.
If you can, I don't know if you can you put that feeling into words where you thought you're dancing that final and you're like, we're going to get 3rd place, and then all of a sudden your name gets called for 1st. How were you feeling?
It's interesting that you asked this question. There's a book that was published probably around 99. I think it was published by Andrew Sinkinson, and they actually captured the moment when they called our names. It's a book of pictures, like through all the major competitions, and there's a picture there from that Blackpool when they called our names, and we both like have the hands like this and that's how we felt. It's a perfect. I don't know we were on the side of the floor, so whoever was taking that picture was amazing time.
They caught that right moment.
I wonder how long the euphoria lasted. Probably for weeks, months.
Oh yeah,
But
sure.
it's the Dance Wiki says that you were undefeated amateur Latin champion. So this means that you did it not once, but many times.
Basically,
until you decide to switch to
for
professional.
the whole year. Until 99 we won everything, and then what happened was for the following Blackpool a lot of professional finalists split, so there were at least 4 new partnerships. So we knew if we wanted to make a final in professional we should go at the same time with them, because if they're already going to make the final, then you're going to have to wait in the row. So next year there were 4 new couples in professional, and we went through and we actually made the final. So we knew that if there was any chance, because usually when you turn professional in those days, people used to do a rising star, win the rising star, and then you're in the semi-final, and then you wait your turn to make the final. We knew that if we want to try, we should just go directly and we did. We were 6.
And it was...
Yeah.
Well, that's very, very special. And then another euphoria moment. So, but actually, speaking about pleasant moments, our pleasant time of the day, how do you unwind? So we know about wine, unwind with wine, but how else? Like you said, you love music. You like choosing what's popular.
Well, in these days, obviously, when you dance your whole life, then you stop, then you only teach, judge. But for me, unwinding, I need to go to work out. This, for me, is like a switch in my head. It's not like my drug. At least in half an hour a day, I need to just go there and just do whatever, just something physical. So for me, this is
any preferences to doing something physical?
Yoga
or a boot class,
exactly, more like a boot class. Before I used to go to gym by myself, but about 8 years ago I started doing this like a boot camp class. And of course, when you follow a teacher who tells you what to do, it's so much easier. So now I don't want to go to gym by myself. So yes, I do classes.
Yeah.
So that's I need it, just at least a little bit.
Since you like the gym, Toronto Winter Ball. Right down the hall, there's a gym there, so you can go unwind after you finish judging.
Maybe not then, but in the morning, yeah.
In the morning, do you go work out at 6, 5?
I've done a few times at 5, but I wouldn't be able to do that every day. Usually it's around 8
a.m.
That's my time, yeah.
So you do your morning workout.
Just
I'm
to
a
wake
morning
up.
person. I'm an early riser. Doesn't matter what time I go to bed, I wake up early.
Doesn't matter what time I go
Well,
to
we don't
bed,
want to
I
keep
don't
you
wake
too
up.
late since you know it's getting late. But we definitely we have more questions. Yes. So Beata, you now mainly judging, and when you're judging, and sometimes when you go and judge prom competitions such as the one you did today, and then you get to see maybe same couples over and over and over again. So what goes through your mind? Like, does your mind get a little bored, or every time is a different time? How do you?
No, I think it depends on the day. It depends. Like, of course, if you see the same people over and over, and especially like it's sometimes you like to see that they actually improving, so that kind of gives you a little bit of an extra thing. But depends. Sometimes if you had a long day and you're a little tired, you know.
And then by improving, you mean between the last competition you saw them and this one, or improving from dance 1 to dance 25?
No, more like between competitions.
Between competitions.
Yes.
Do you come up to those couples and tell them your thoughts, or if they ask you, would
If
you?
they ask, yes. I'd never go myself. If they would come and ask me, absolutely, of course. But I would never go myself.
But indeed, there is opportunity to see some couple progress, because actually, when you go from competition to competition, you get to see the same faces. It's like you never said bye, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's like a deja vu, or what was that movie, the Groundhog Day?
Yes.
And then the same
It's
thing.
same thing.
The same scenario happens. But actually, I should say that we love doing this, right? Because
Of course,
it gets us to nice places. You get to see nice people. Our
You
ballroom
get to
industry.
connect as
Our
Exactly.
ballroom
Connection.
industry has a lot of beautiful people, interesting personalities, and it's always glamorous and beautiful. So name your favorite places that you like to travel to. Like when it's combined, let's say maybe with judging or just for traveling, what are your favorite destinations?
Toronto.
But today, when I came to the airport, oh, it was so cold. Oh
It
my
was
God,
Where
it's
in the
so-
U.S. do you live?
New Jersey.
New Jersey?
Although
But it's
today
still cold
was-
there.
But
A colder day.
it's today here much colder. I mean, let me think. For the weather, of course, I love California. For the weather, I didn't know if I would be able to live there, but for weather, there's amazing. I mean, there's so many beautiful places. If you're talking about America, I love Hawaii. I mean, Hawaii is.
Who doesn't?
I know, But in America, I think usually when we travel, as you know, most of the time we're in the hotels, so we don't really see that much. See the hotels or the studios. But Texas, I think, is beautiful, like Austin, Texas. We love Charlotte also. I love going to Charlotte, North Carolina. It's a beautiful place. Close to New York, and it's also very beautiful.
All right. Which
Speaking of, you just question clicked. You said you're always in hotels. Do you ever come out of the hotel to explore the city you're in?
You know, if you go to the same place over and over, then yes. If you're just there for one time, usually it's just work and go. That's it. But
So
if
you
you
don't-
keep
you-
coming back, then yes.
You don't put aside that like 1 hour to go explore if you're there for one day, but if you go like a couple
Yes,
times, you do.
exactly.
Then speaking about traveling and getting out of the hotel, maybe for some shopping, where do you get your judging gowns? Do you have a formula that you'd like to share with us?
I mean, I love when
She doesn't want to reveal her secrets.
No. I love one particular
We don't
brand.
need to know the names or the brands, but then some people they shop when when they specifically travel, and some people only shop when they're at home because they know where they're going and they get okay. I know what I'm gonna find there, pam pam pam. List check mark check.
That's usually me. It's always usually at home. Like I usually BCBG is my brand. Like I know my size, and doesn't matter what I put on. Usually that would work. But of course, sometimes if you're looking for something different, I think New York is probably one of the best places to go and shop. So it would be just
Fifth Avenue.
exactly. Saks Fifth Avenue. I just go there and
Yeah. Well, you know what? I kind of feel jealous because the BCBG is no more in Canada.
Oh really?
Yeah, it closed.
Yeah.
The store has closed, but online they still have. Obviously,
do.
you can try it online.
They do. And a
right?
friend of mine just came from New York. and she brought a dress for my Beata, and she said, well, here's the little BCBG dress from BCBG Kids. And I'm like, what? BCBG Kids? They also have kids? And we have
I
nothing.
did not know that
But
they have
the
kids.
U.S. has a lot more things than Canada.
But you are so close to us. It's 1 hour flight.
No.
And you're
That's
there all
true.
the time judging, so you can.
That's true. Actually, it is true. A lot of Canadians, they cross the border for shopping.
Yeah,
And then you
Buffalo.
don't even need to fly. Yeah, you cross from Niagara
2
Falls
hours.
into the other.
Right.
2-3 hours and we're there.
Right.
Yeah. Not even. But do you have favorite place in Canada that you like to visit? How about?
You know, I haven't been there. I mean, obviously, I've only been to Toronto and Montreal. Those are really the two places that I've
If you like
been.
California, you're gonna like Vancouver.
Actually, I have been, I'm lying, to Vancouver, but I'm talking like long, so I don't remember anything. I'll be honest, I don't remember
So
anything.
you should go again.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Okay, and then I know Beata, and this is for the listeners of our podcast. Beata owns a pet, so you're a pet owner, and you have a dog.
Yes.
And what breed?
It's a French bulldog. It's a Frenchie. His name is Mason. His color is blue, even though it's a gray color, but they call him blue. And it was a surprise for me for one of my birthdays. My husband bought him for me, and yeah, that was.
I've seen Mason. He's super cute.
Yeah, he usually used to come
All
to all the
dogs are cute.
competitions.
Yes, and then so when you travel to competition, and if you take Mason, and I've seen you sometimes bring him with you. So do they allow pets now to travel with you in the?
Well, he's a service dog, so if it's a service dog, you're allowed to take him everywhere.
And service dog means something that makes you puts you in the comfort zone, right?
Exactly, there's different kind of, there could be emotional support of there's so many different ones, but yes, if it's a service dog, yeah, he's supposed to be there next to you.
I wonder. So he behaves then when he's and then he knows, and is there special training for that?
Exactly, there is, yes.
You can't just random people can't come and pet him.
Correct. Yes, they have to ask the owner, and then yes, and also it depends on, not every dog can be a service dog. It depends on their personality. So when they're small, they know, the people who train them, they know if they can actually train them to be a service dog.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, because I'm just thinking, we have a neighbor, and then their dog, it likes to bark at everything that passes in front of the window, and I'm thinking, this dog could never be a service dog. Because imagine you're on a flight with
That's the wrong
with
personality.
a companion like that. Yes. So, but since you like pets, are you thinking to get more pets, or just?
We would love to have another one, but it's just with our jobs, it's at the moment impossible.
Always on the road.
Exactly. If you're at home most of the time, then of course we would love to have another dog so he can play with, but it is no ways that we can do it right now. It's already very challenging with one because it's like he's your family, he always was with us. So even when we have to travel now, we have to figure out how to leave him or who has to look after him. Two would be impossible at this moment. Maybe in the future.
On that note, I want to...
Let's go back to our traditional question, just so, which is, what is on your bucket list? I know we're asking this question, everybody, and then almost everybody. Some people like to learn to play guitar or ride a horse or learn how to do painting. Anything like that? Or places that you want to visit maybe across the world? No, it's not that you haven't been across the world.
No, I never thought it that way.
Learn something new, maybe singing instead of
Definitely not singing. You don't want.
Or just doing something that you haven't
golf,
done.
golf, tennis.
One thing that was on my bucket list was like.
What's on your bucket list?
This is my interview now. One thing that I always wanted to do, which me and my girlfriend did, was parasailing. So that was on my bucket list, and we did it. So have you been parasailing? Have you been parachute jumping?
So let me tell you one thing about me. I am fanatic for speed, but I'm terrified of heights. So
racing on the ground.
Probably racing would be the thing. Yes,
Speedboat.
Anything with speed, yes, because when I stopped competing, I went skiing to Austria. That was my first time skiing. And it was not a good thing because on those bunny slopes, I was there and I was going. And when they took me up there and they said, go. And before going down, I stopped. And that was my mistake, because if I didn't look down, I probably would have gone down. When I saw what's there, I was done. So yeah,
But the speed.
but the speed is, I'm fanatic. Any fast cars, anything like that. So probably racing would be more my thing. Yeah, nothing to do with heights.
See, so something to add for the bucket list.
But you should conquer your fears. So you should go and climb the CN Tower in Toronto.
Yeah, I'm sure they also have it in New York, but in Toronto we do have a racing experience. So anyone can be a race driver just for a day, for an hour.
Yeah.
And you can, yeah.
I would love to do that. Of course, I would need to probably
Not
have
now,
proper
though.
lessons.
Not in December.
Not in December. We gotta wait for the summer, and then. But right now we're here, and it's beautiful Christmas weather. So you said that when you were living in New York, is that the weather is very, very different from Toronto weather?
No, it's not very different, but up until like today also, this morning was cold there, but up until today it wasn't that bad. So when I came here this morning, it was such a because it was a
You
minus.
should. If you came last night, you wouldn't have want to come out of the plane.
Really?
You wouldn't want to come out of the plane. It was minus 27.
You see, yeah, we haven't had that for a long time. So yeah, I mean, it gets cold in New York, of course it does, but today here was really cold.
Really, really cold, and I remember that too.
On that cold note, I want to thank Beata for joining us at the Grand Circle.
And
Thank you for having
yeah,
me.
so on this cold day, bringing something warm, like your smile,
Thank you.
into this room and into Toronto.
Thank you so much.
And we thank you for being with us and
Absolutely.
for sharing
Thank you so much.
Of
We hope
course.
to see you soon and interview you again somewhere else, maybe around the world.
Absolutely, of course. Thank
And
you.
maybe
Thank you.
dancing too, not to forget that. Okay. Well, until next time, and bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.